Hey, so a couple of days ago, I posted on my Instagram and Facebook story that my card of the day that day was actually a 9 card spread where I pulled in more information, needed a little more guidance, a little more direction from the angels that day. And I wanted to do a little video sort of talking you through that spread just so you can get an understanding of what a reading for you might be like. Now, I'm not going to spend a full hour doing this, which is what I would normally spend when a person comes to me for a 9 card reading, but I will just kind of drop into the insight from this 9 card spread and help you to get an understanding of how it hangs together. Now, we're looking at 9 cards. The top row is going to be your crowning cards, what's on the top of your mind. The middle row is going to be what's in your heart. The bottom row is what in your life is either keeping you stuck or helping you move forward. So it kind of separates out the body in that way and brings in different levels of wisdom. Now, if we go into columns, like the first column is recent past. So this is a card where you and I would have a conversation. This card is going to mean something to you. It's already happened. So you're going to have more information about that than I will or the angels will. Like we'll be able to start our conversation there. The middle cards are the present cards, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to mine. And the last row, the last column is what becomes available if we do the work of the present cards before it. So let's dig in. My crowning card and what's been going on in the past 6 to 8 weeks was spiritual growth. And so this card definitely resonated for me. The past 6 to 8 weeks, I've definitely been coming into even just this angel certification course, but different spiritual gifts coming online, different ways of looking at the world coming online. I've definitely had that experience of like my mind expanding to different ways of knowing things, different experiences. So I would say that made a lot of sense for me that like what's been going on in my mind is, spiritual growth. And not only like has that been happening for me through like my intellect and my intelligence, but also it's been top of mind for me. How can I continue to grow my life along spiritual paths, and how can I continue to do what is within the universe's will for me, the universe's desire for me, and how do I align my life with that? And so I think about that more than once on a daily basis. So the next card we'll look at is the second recent past card, which is what's in my heart. And this is the Archangel Azrael, Transcendence. So it says, you wouldn't be who you are without what you have overcome. Own your story. So this is actually really tender, right? And it's of course what's on my heart. So it's maybe a little bit vulnerable, a little bit personal. But in the past 6 to 8 weeks, I have been making an intentional effort to share more of my story with you all, to be willing to own kind of where I came from and where I'm at now, to remember where I used to live, but also not dwell there anymore. I've been doing that through various ways, like being able to share small parts of my history on different reels that I'm making, on different podcasts that I'm making, but also just in the way that I'm interacting with people on a day-to-day basis, like really owning that, I come from a past that I've had things to overcome, but I don't live there anymore. I'm not carrying around like old stories about myself that get in the way of me moving forward towards what I want. I love the idea of transcendence, right? It's the idea of like, we've overcome something and that those things become a part of who we are and fully owning who I am. And so I definitely felt this card as what was on my heart is just, using disclosure as a way to let people know me better, as opposed to using it to like, try to get someone's attention or to just really checking my motives around like, why am I exposing my heart in this way? And so I have owned my story a lot more lately, and I've been speaking a lot more to it lately and really wanting to share that with folks as a way to allow them to understand why things like my business or some upcoming move that I have going on, like why those things are important to me is by sharing, what's on my heart and what's in my story. So definitely been feeling this card lately. The next card I'm going to talk about is the recent past in my what's been keeping me stuck or moving me forward. And this says singing and dancing. And I know the filters are a little bit strange, but we'll just kind of get a chance to look at that. And so I think this card actually means kind of two things for me. So the first one being that actually love to sing and dance. And so when I put on some good music, when I move my body, more often than not, it's in the car lately, which there could be better places for me to do that where I could really fully get into like my full body. But I think that that's kind of a part of what this message brings to me is that like when I'm singing, when I'm dancing, when I'm humming, and actually interestingly enough, after a couple of these angel card readings I've been doing recently, I'll kind of close the reading and I'll be putting cards away and like re-cleansing the space with sage or Palo Santo and thanking the angels for what they've brought in. And like a little tune will come into my head or a little mantra. And I'm like, and to me, I'm like, is this, what is that? Just brings me like things I've never heard before, but like are coming in. And so it does say that expressing yourself and awakening psychic senses through magical powers of movement and music. I also think like right now in my life, would like to be moving my body a little bit more, and dance has always been a great way for me to do that. Get my blood moving, get my liver clearing out, get my mind clearing out, like raising my vibration, so that I'm able to show up and serve and support in the ways that are meaningful to me. So this card is two meanings. I definitely been feeling into the singing and dancing lately as a way that kind of keeps me present and grounded and helps me to move forward, but also just a reminder that like I need to be doing a little bit more of this, expressing myself differently, moving my body differently, and it's just going to help me overall. Now we move on to the next column of cards, which was that present card. Now, these are going to be kind of our homework assignments from the angels. So when I'm looking at these cards, I'm thinking like, what is it that I need? Like, what are the angels asking me to do? And if by doing those things, what future becomes available to me, like in that next layer? So digging into this next round, and I know I'm going kind of fast because I want this video to be accessible to you. We would take more time digging in. We might even get out some of the guidebooks and really like see if there's extra messages there that we aren't pulling in just from being able to share presence with the card. But for now, I'm just going to show you kind of how this 9 card reading runs through. So digging into the present cards, our homework cards. The first card at the crowning card, what's on my mind, is healing energy. And so, what I love about this card is like, I love any kind of homework that brings in, like, do more healing, right? But actually, what I really feel when I look at this card and when I see this card is like, my homework is really more to allow healing to happen, to allow the angels to surround me, to allow presence to be there, to allow my mind to clear and heal. So, when I'm in a process right now of really growing my business and of like looking at an upcoming interstate move. And in both of those areas, this could be something where like my mind starts to really work like it's not going to work out or is going to work out or I didn't do that thing right or they really, whatever the things are. And I think that this card really brings the homework for me is to like bring healing energy to my thoughts, to my mind, to really keep those in a positive way, to think positive things about myself and also to give myself space to heal through maybe where some of those negative messages in my mind come through, right? And so that's what this card really means for me. I love the caduceus here and just the green. It's very Archangel Raphael vibes. And this healing orb around the head. Really, really pretty card. So the next card is, if you can imagine, we've got this grid of 9, and I'll put a picture of it with this video, but there's a card that ends up in the center. And so that card carries some weight because it's touching every other card and impacts every other card. And so the homework the angels have given me for my heart for the middle of this reading is charity, to be a pillar of service, to serve with a gracious heart, and to know God is serving me. God, the universe, the angels. You can put kind of whatever word makes sense for you there. But this card was, I was so delighted to see it the other day because this is really what I orient my business and my life around. I'm really dedicated to being of service to humanity. And I don't think that's cliche. And I don't think that that's Pollyanna-ish. And I don't think that that's ego fed, right? But this card is a reminder to keep my heart at the posture of service, right? To keep my heart open, that when my mind is in need of healing because it's maybe not thinking about the best possible outcomes, that if I can turn my heart towards others and helping others, like it's always going to be the way. And the good news about that for me is that this is actually a natural inclination to me. When I'm scared and overwhelmed, it's not as easy to feel as generous, to feel like, well, if I can get really afraid that the universe is gonna, like, if I give away what I have, what if there's not enough for me, right? Like, that's not a service, right? That's not service. And it doesn't necessarily mean that service is free, although sometimes it is, right? But just that this card being at the center of this reading for me is like, hey, if you keep your mind oriented to like what you can do for others, the universe is going to take care of you. And that's such a relief, right? Because I do think there are times in my life where I've been so, and this comes back to the transcendence, the card before this one of like what's been going on the past 6 to 8 weeks and part of owning my story. In the past, there have been times where I haven't taken very good care of myself and I've taken care of others as a way to validate myself or as a way to give myself value, validate and value. And I don't think that that's what this card's about. I actually think that because I'm grounded in practices that do take really good care of myself, I get to give from the overflow today. I get to give from that place of being fulfilled myself. And when I'm not, I do stop and tap in and take care of myself because I have learned and I have transcended that old story that everyone else has to come before me. Instead, this is about taking really good care of myself and then having that open posture of the heart to service and being able to show up and help others. And that it's so important to me. I really think that we are put on this planet to help each other. I think that's kind of the whole point. And then the last card in the present column for the homework and what's keeping me stuck or what's moving me forward is, have you asked your angels for help with this? How funny. What a little call out moment, right? So my homework is to make sure I'm checking in with my angels and I'm asking them for help. And what I love is like this reading was me asking my angels for help, but this card very much says like give specific situations over to the angels. They need my permission before they'll step in. I'm given free will as an incarnated soul here on the planet. And so I need to use my free will to ask the angels to help. And so, you know, making sure that I am. And so I've been really trying to practice that. Oh, I love this reminds me of a little ball of light meditation that I like to do with my Reiki students. And that is a part of my meditation collection on the Lovely Souls Collective, my membership community. So, anyway, I love this card. I don't do this card so easily. But I'm trying, right? And this is my homework. So I'm practicing every day. Like, hey, angels, like I give you permission to step in. Like, hey, angels, help with this situation. I'm feeling overwhelmed. Hey, angels, I don't know what to do. And I don't have to get it right. There's no perfecting it, but just remembering to like lean into something that's bigger than me, that's outside of me, and then coming back to like just doing this, just being of service. I think that those things are going to really serve me well. So the third column is all about the future. And this is the future that becomes available to us if, when, during doing the work of the previous column. So, in the process of doing this healing energy work to my mind, to my thoughts, what becomes available to me, I think, is clarity and peace to carry out a sacred plan. Now, this card is not necessarily about a sacred plan like as divined, well, as defined by the divine. This is a sacred plan about that I co-create. So, in order to co-create a sacred plan, I have to have a clear mind to do that. And so by doing that clearing mind work, which I'm really excited because after I do this recording, I've scheduled myself to do a little breath work session. So I'm gonna be doing that to like just help clear it out. But what comes in is that the sacred plan comes on board. So this becomes available to me as I do that healing energy, as I allow that healing energy, as I do the homework of bringing healing energy to my thoughts, to the top of my mind. This becomes available. I love this image because when I enter the Akashic Records, which I do on my own, I'm not a Akashic Records practitioner, and I follow people who are, and I've taken, like self-study, so I'm safe to do that on my own. If you're interested in Akashic Records, I know many, many great practitioners, so just drop a line. But this is the image that I see when I open my own records. It's like I really do see like almost like a gold helix coming in. So this to me was like, I get even more connection with with the realm of pure potential of all possibilities. Now, as I do the homework of staying in charity, staying of service, what becomes available to me is the sacred activist Ariel. So Ariel is all about protecting the right, protecting what is right and just, and letting love lead the way. Ariel is the lioness of God, the lioness of the universe. And so what this card says to me is like when I get generous, when I am of service, when I am out there helping the world and weaving my beautiful craft into the world, which is something I just really I love doing it. And I keep my mind oriented towards service and I keep my offers oriented towards service. Um, I get to be an activist for, the good and the just and the things that are coming in. It's this feedback that I've been called here to Earth to do something important. And then I get to feel that when I remember that it comes from being of service. And then the final card I'm going to talk about today is that card at in the bottom of the future column. And it's about what's keeping me stuck or helping me move forward. Ear chakras. So, what becomes available to me as I ask my angels, I'll be able to hear them better. As I ask my angels and do my homework, I'll be able to get better messages. I tend to be more clairaudient than any of the other clairs. If you're not familiar with the clairs, I have a great workshop on that. Um, in my membership community. So, and you can also purchase it. So let me know, if you want to know more about that. But I tend to be more clairaudient. Like I hear messages, I hear songs, like I'll hear repeated like phrases out in the world, like when I have a question about something. But when I ask my angels, I get to have this more clear insight on it. Right. And so this is just exciting to me, and it's like the answers to my prayers are going to come in. I'm going to be able to hear them. I'm going to be able to experience them if I remember to ask my angels. And so that's kind of a quick overview snapshot of what a 9 card reading with me would be like. We would take a little bit more time. We would dig in a lot more deeply. We would tune into a little bit more fullness of the messages, but that gives you an idea of what the spread looks like. So I hope that you've enjoyed and take care. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.